Hi everyone, welcome to Tidy TV, where I bring the classroom to you. I'm Hannah John, and today I'm going to share how I actually prepare for my own midterm exams. Stay tuned! So we're approaching midterm season over here at my university, and so I know a lot of students are probably not paying attention to what's happening on my channel, which is perfectly fine. And actually I'm also quite busy making sure that I'm preparing the best and most effective midterm exam possible. That's why last week I had a study with me kind of compilation or mashup, and thank you so much to the students who participated. And that's why I wanted to continue that discussion today with how I actually prepare for my midterm exams, and hopefully it might provide some insight as you're studying for yours. I do want to add a huge disclaimer. Midterm exams or any sort of examination at the university or graduate school level will really depend not only on your major, but also your university guidelines or preferences, certainly by your instructor, and also the type of course that you're actually engaged in. So you might have very different midterm examination styles for introductory courses as opposed to research-intensive or writing-intensive courses, such as the one that I'll be talking about today. So when I talk about preparing the midterm examination, I look at two major aspects. And the first I'll be sharing about substance, so what is the core kind of contents of the examination. And the second part is style. How am I going to be testing you or evaluating you based on these questions? When it comes to the actual substance of the midterm examination, there are three places that I go to look at. First and foremost, I always go to my course syllabus. In the syllabus, there's actually a lot of helpful information, or I try to provide helpful information about some of the major expectations, some of the major objectives that will be covered in this course. So certainly there is the introductory summary, what the core learning objectives are, and then for each week leading up to the midterm examination, or perhaps later in your final examination, what are some of the kind of core themes? And within those themes, what are some of the key questions that I've been asking each week? So once I have this pool of key questions, core themes that I've been looking at over the course of the first half of the semester, I then look at my own lecture materials. I try to divide the components of the lecture into the key questions that I'm trying to ask for that week. So as a student who's preparing for the midterm examination, please make sure that you not only have completely understood the syllabus, but also the lecture materials that are being introduced. Why am I providing this type of information? What are some of the kind of mini questions that I've been asking within each kind of component of the lecture? And how might this contribute to a better understanding of the kind of theoretical perspectives that we're exploring for this subject? So for the student presentations, I would take a very close look at the research questions that are being addressed in each of the materials. What are some of the major theoretical perspectives that have been employed, data and methods that are used to answer this research question, and then importantly, what are some of the key findings of these articles? In addition to the student presentations, if you were there fully, consciously during class, you'll notice that afterwards students also have questions based on the presentation materials, but that I also ask some of my own questions or make some comments about the presentation itself. I keep track of these questions as well. What are some of the things that I was interested in? And I hope that you actually took note of some of the questions that I did ask our presenters. In terms of style, there are 3 points that I want you to consider for my own midterms as I prepare them. First is, I'm not a fan of asking for definitions. For better or for worse. At a graduate school level, I assume that you already know the definitions of key concepts, of key terms, and so I'm not there to test on the spot whether you know it from memory, or even if it's open book. But especially in the social sciences and in my particular field, business ethics, corporate social responsibility, a lot of the terms themselves are quite contested. And so I'm trying to see whether you actually know the meaning of those terms from various theoretical perspectives, whether a consensus has been reached with regards to that, what are some of the key debates or areas of contention when it comes to making those definitions or trying to concretize these concepts. So if anything, you shouldn't expect that I'll be asking you for the definition of terms, and instead I'm going to be looking at how you can try to use those terms in a way that shows me that you understand them, that you've digested them, and that you understand the types of debates and issues surrounding them. The second point when it comes to style is I prefer kind of core concepts, core issues, key themes, kind of broader, overarching themes, as opposed to very obscure kind of nitty-gritty details. It's not my hope in any sort of examination, especially in the midterm examination, to add to your stress by asking you for, the third footnote on page 250 of one of the articles that we barely mentioned during class. That's not my goal at all. Again, I want you to focus on core themes, core questions, key questions that have been asked, but even the ones that have been asked in my own class, at least from my perspective, have very different responses based on the types of theoretical perspectives that you employ to answer them. Last but not least, I focus on, say, more essay-based, short answer essay or more extensive essays, as opposed to other question types. In these essays that you craft, again, you should be able to show me that you have digested the literature, you understand the debates in the literature, and that you're able to apply these theoretical perspectives to potentially real-life cases. I tend to prefer, should I even say this? It's not a really big secret, and I actually told all of the students in my class, but I like to bring in kind of external sources, real-world cases or issues or examples or developments that have been occurring around the world and perhaps even within Korea, because we've talked quite a bit about the Korean case as well. But then how we can examine those cases with the theoretical perspectives that we've already been learning about throughout the course of the first half of the semester. So hopefully you have a better idea in terms of the substance of the midterm examination and the style of midterm examination that I prefer when it comes to actually preparing the exam for you. Please don't be too stressed. You'll do fine. Sleep, eat well. What else can you do? Study. I wish you all the best in terms of your midterm exams. You'll do great, I'm sure. 화이팅! And until next time here on Tari TV, bye!